Dear student, Assalamu alaikum. I hope by the grace of Almighty Allah, all of you are fine. Dear student, I am Mohammad Shahjahan, Assistant Professor, Department of Accounting, Milestone College, Uttara, Dhaka. Dear student, today we'll discuss Chapter 10, Financial Statement, and this is our lecture 3. Dear student, at the end of this lecture, you will able to prepare income statement for merchandising business, determine operating expenses, operating profit, other income, other expenses, and net profit. Dear student, if you can remember, two lecture we have discussed how we can prepare income statement for merchandising business. Today also I will discuss some other problem for preparing income statement. Dear student, now a list of operating expenses. Dear student, you know to run the business, whatever expenses is done, that is operating expenses. Last class we have discussed some direct expenses which is related to production, that means directly related to production, that included in cost of goods sold. Now we will discuss some expenses which help to run the business, that means operate the business. That's why it is called operating expenses. All of these are indirect expenses, that means this type of expenses is not related with purchase or production. So dear student, I am giving you some example. This is not the full list. Dear student, at the time of doing math you'll get lots of operating expenses, but one thing you have to remember: operating expense means the expenses which is related to run the business, and this is indirect expenses. This is not directly related with purchase or production. This is helping the purchase and production process. Dear student, now look at the list. Carries outward, salaries, office rent and electricity bill, office expenses, discount allowed, commission paid, repairs, postage and telegram and telephone bills, export duty, legal expenses, advertisement expenses, lease rent, bank charge, stationery, packing expenses, traveling expenses, insurance expenses, depreciation on fixed asset, write off on intangible fixed asset, bad debt, old plus new, new provision for bad debt, and old provision for bad debt. Dear student, these are the some example operating expenses, but again I am telling that keep it in your mind. Operating expenses means the expenses related to operate the business. It is helping to the purchase or production process. Then you can find out easily which one is operating expenses. Dear student, now formula of operating profit, how you will get the operating profit. Last class, dear student, you have learned how you can find out the gross profit. I am telling it again for you, dear student. If you can remember, net sales less cost of goods sold, then we find the gross profit. Net sales less cost of goods sold, then you find the gross profit. So from that gross profit, if you subtracted operating expenses, then you will get the operating profit. You can see the list here also. Dear student, if you subtract gross profit, operating expenses from gross profit, then you can find the operating profit. Dear student, now net profit. How we can find the net profit? Dear student, the formula of net profit: operating profit add other income less other expense, then you will find the net profit. That means I have told you earlier, for preparing income statement of merchandising business, we have to follow three steps. Number one, gross profit, which you have learned in last class. Net sales minus cost of goods sold, then gross profit. Net sales minus cost of goods sold, then gross profit. Now operating profit, gross profit less operating expense, and you see the list of operating expense. Then net profit, third step, operating profit. Operating profit which you will find out from here. Then from that operating profit we have to add other income and we have to less other expenses. Then you will find out the net profit. Dear student, again I am telling, net profit, the formula of net profit is operating profit, and we have to add other income with that operating profit, and we have to less the other expenses. Dear student, now what is other income? Dear student, you know that the main income of an organization is that selling of their goods and commodities. Dear student, beside that there are some other income. That means this is not their main income and extra income, byproduct, we can say that they are doing some activities. From their activities they may earn some money, but they are not doing business for that. That's why it is called other income. Look at the other income. Profit from selling of fixed asset. That means you have a fixed asset. If you sell that asset, if you earn some money, that is other income. Interest on investment. You have some extra money, you keep it in the bank, then you earn some profit from the bank, then it is interest on investment. Interest on drawings, interest on loan allowed, interest received from bank, apprenticeship premium. Dear student, this is important word, apprenticeship premium. That means from the trainee from the apprenticeship, if you earn any money, that is apprenticeship premium. That is also income for the business. Rent received from sublet, dividend received, commission received, discount received. These are the some important other income. Dear student, now other expense. Other expense means the expenses which is not directly related with purchase or production, or it is not helping also the production process. This is other expense. That means somehow these expenses also occurred in the business. That's why this is expenses. Actually this is not main expenses or helping expenses. This is the expenses, uh, extra expenses for the business. Dear student, some example is given here. Look at loss from selling of fixed asset. That means if you profit from selling of fixed asset, that is your other income. If you loss from selling of fixed asset, then it is your other income, it is other expenses. Then interest on capital. That means if your owner would like to get some interest from his investment, that is interest on capital, that is also another expenses. Then interest on loan, bank loan, it is a, dear student, allowance for apprenticeship. That means if you give any allowance to the trainee, to the apprenticeship, then it is your expenses. Then theft or accidental loss. These are the some example of other expenses. Dear student, I would like to discuss whole formula, that means last class and today's class again. Dear student, look at first you find out the gross profit for the income statement of merchandising business. At first you have to find out the gross profit. The process is that net sales less cost of goods sold, then you get the gross profit. Dear student, net sales less cost of goods sold, then you get the gross profit. Then you find operating profit, gross profit less operating expense. That means total of gross profit, you have to subtract from that operating expenses, the expenses which occurred in the business for day-to-day expenditure, that is operating expenses. Then net profit, operating profit add other income less other expenses, then it is net profit, and it is other expenses and it is other income. Dear student, I hope you understand. Now we can prepare the income statement. That means you can find out the profit or loss. Dear student, your homework, you have to learn and write the formula of a statement of comprehensive income for merchandising organization. More and more, the more you write, the more you learn, the more you can remember at the time of solving the practical problem. You will write the formula of net sales, net purchase, cost of goods sold, operating expense, operating profit, and others. Dear student, may Allah help all of you. Thank you.